Right, let's talk about Resident Evil Requiem. I have now completed the game, not 100%, but I finally finished it over the weekend from Friday. So, and if you've watched the stream and if you've watched the edited parts or exported to YouTube, you would know I've also finished it myself. I had finished this game at 11:30 on the 2nd of March. I played the game from the 27th of February at midnight. So it's been a long haul, and I am ready to give my full review and what my rating for this game will be, and my final thoughts and what I think with this game. Anyway, let's get on with it. Well, throughout most of it, I loved the horror aspect with Grace. I loved the action bit with Leon. Though I'm never really good with sniper rifles, but so far with this game, going through it, the sniper rifles seem to be pretty awesome and easily to be used than I used to know. I was never good with snipers in any game, but this one seems to be really different. Even Resident Evil 4 Remake, I struggled with a sniper rifle, and Resident Evil 5. So, for this to be that good with a sniper rifle, I am privileged to say that was top tier sniping for this game. I really enjoyed it. A few flaws that I do remember with all this playthrough were the segments in the care center where you play as Leon and there's no saving with Leon at that point until later on in the game, which was a bit of a bummer, but they made up for it once we got into his latter stages where we were allowed to save it once we entered Raccoon City. So, in that state, with other things that were going right with it, because that was just the only thing that I felt was a bit of a downer. But the rest of it was good. The balancing through the horror section with Grace was good. I felt tensed in some areas. I really thought that this was a good way of doing horror, and adding Leon to it, there were still bits that I was like, yeah, this is kind of cool and creepy. And even though his was more action based, I still felt a little bit of like something's big gonna happen sort of thing, sort of like anxious, on edge type of thing, which I thought was really good for this game. Now, the weapon situations, they were really good. The Raccoon was a bit of a pain because you never got to use it much because you could never have bullets for it. And I pretty much remember I accidentally used a bullet by mistake that I could have used to make the prison cell section a bit more easier than wasting a lot of healing items there trying to get past that big giant woman. Enemies were great. The zombies were not your typical zombies, which, well, that has to happen. That's evolution of the T-virus. You know, you can't have the same slow zombies anymore, can you? But, yeah, they were pretty good, and it was fun to actually hear conversations with said zombies duration of this game, and, you know, the whole story felt really defined and really good. My best part of this was actually getting back to Raccoon City. That was my main goal is to get to Raccoon City and see what it's like. And definitely revisiting the RPD was so much enjoyment. And the amount of flashbacks that were in it, the little hidden details referencing Barry Burton, which was good. Wesker's obsession with Rebecca was fun to revisit again. And finding Jill's beret was pretty a niche touch, and Chris Redfield's jacket, it was really good. And that little message from Lieutenant Branner to his colleagues to get, surprise birthday bash for Leon, which was really, really a good touching subject. And in all generosity, the whole thing felt really like this is real, and it really made me feel like, oh my god, I played Resident Evil 2, remake and the original, and it's finally comes to this, that we finally get to revisit. I had flashbacks myself playing the game, going through the RPD, let alone Leon, and it felt so good to be there, basically, and just all feels like, yeah, it's finally put to rest, Raccoon City. And, finding out the whole history of it, reading Grace's full report at the end was really cool. And finding out Spencer wasn't really as bad as he was made out to be. He literally had research into trying to evolve humanity and really didn't. And he brought Grace in to this world brought her into whatever, saved her or whatever, brought her in to make sure that the Elpis virus would be finally a thing and released, because Elpis ended up being a cure for the virus that was created to, at the time, probably control the situation. But but it was nice to hear, stories of Wesker being involved, and he was involved with the connections, which were part of Umbrella anyway. They were the moles inside Umbrella that worked with the US government. All these things tied together makes it feel reality, because a lot of stuff goes on in the US government and the UK government, any government. There's always these side stuff that go on, these black projects and things that are a bit naughty, shall we say. But it was nice to revisit the RPD as it is. It was nice to, I say nice, to revisit the the Raccoon City orphanage. But my god, that was creepy, and it felt a lot easier to get through than the Sherry segments in Resident Evil 2 remake when you're running away from Chief Irons. But again, that could be because controller problems, but I never had a problem with that. But it used to be very tense, that one. But I did see that there was going to be more to that. There was going to be other lurker enemies or whatever they were called, so it would have been a lot harder, but they didn't do that. And this one, it just felt easy, just hiding under the bed, hiding under the table, or hide in the corner and get your ass out of there. It felt pretty easy, but it was really intense, and that's what I love about Resident Evil, is the whole intense moments, the whole jump scares, which wasn't very many for me, but I'm desensitized to it a bit. But you know what I mean, the full horror aspect, the tense atmosphere, You know, the anxiety you get when you try and walk around a corner, or, you know, wondering what's next. Everything about it is what made Resident Evil. The surviving, the all survival aspects, and item management, things, conserving ammo, working ways around things, doing unique puzzles, which the puzzles in this were quite interesting and quite possibly one of the best I've ever had, purely because some of them were pretty easy. Instead of having to connect some, not connect, but instead of trying to put things, in a specific order or something, or, like Resident Evil 4 Remake, where I just gave up on that bloody that puzzle where you had to put the blocks together to make something to get. Oh, I don't know. But, yeah. So, with all that said and done, yes, unfortunately I got the bad ending first, but I wasn't sure. I thought that was the whole point. You would destroy Elpis and do as Leon says. I didn't realise that would lead to the bad ending and getting him, spoiler, killed. But I love the fact that they allowed you to replay that bit again, instead of going through the full game again to try and make the right decision. Because having both endings felt really good. It was really emotional, the whole game and everything. And I loved every moment of it. And I'm going to re-love it all again, replaying for it. Hopefully a little bit more quicker pace and lesser mistakes, so we say. I mean, and sadly, the returning characters that I was expecting to come into it didn't really come into it. But again, this is Leon's story with Grace, so it was a bit of a, as I say, there were already little things that were a little downers to it. The no saving in the care centre, and not many Outbreak references or anybody from Outbreak being appeared in it apart from Grace Ashcroft. But they made up for it by having references to Barry. Well, they didn't even have Raymond, which was weird because he was part of the RPD, but never mind. I guess Leon didn't really know him. But it was nice to revisit with Marvin Branagh getting all that stuff with the other officers that Leon met. It was nice to hear about them in there and everything else. I have been told and confirmed that Ada Wong was in it, but I never got that. I never had Ada Wong in through my whole playlist, sadly, so I can't confirm from my side that she's in it, but I've been told and seen a confirmation video that she's in it. Sadly, I didn't, so I don't know what way of doing that, but I'll find out at some point how, so that at least then I can have footage of me meeting Ada in it. I did, however, bump into Mr. Death, Hunk, who is finally dead. Spoiler, you kill him in it, which is a bit weird, but okay. Surprisingly, he still works for Umbrella, but that's probably what he's paid for. The only other things that I was missing in it was they only had little tiny things, like Claire Redfield was only a charm bracelet on your gun. Fair enough, at least they got a mention, but it would have been nice to have them talk about Claire, because she was part of Sherry's and Leon's path. But all those little tiny bits out of the way, it was just small niggly things, and how easy some of the Mr. Raccoons were to find, which I realised I haven't found them all, so some of them are really hidden well, and some of them weren't, but I felt like I was getting them all pop, 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 go in there. Some of the notes that were left lying around that I picked apparently isn't the full all files found, but the ones I did find, they were quite a good read. They really talked about in-depth stuff about what's going on, what happened in past and everything, really setting the story very well. And all in all, 100%, I would say, for those who haven't got the game yet, definitely get it. It's worth buying and worth getting, even in a discount or even as it is full price. For those who have played it and finished it, just so I can put my opinions across, 100% I will say this is worth it. I will highly recommend any new gamer into Resident Evil to play it, and even classic Resident Evil gamers like myself who started back in 1996 with the very, very first Resident Evil game. For anybody that's into horror games as well, I highly recommend you give it a go. It is awesome. Even people that love story-driven stuff and horror and action, this is the game for you. And I am giving a big, huge score for this. Compared to most of the other ones that I've done reviews on, and the scores were a little low for them, but this one is going to be quite up there. And I'm happy to say that this, out of all the Resident Evils, apart from the first two originals, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 original, not the remakes but the originals, this game is up there with them two as being the best Resident Evil out there, and it gets the 10 out of 10 score like Resident Evil 2 original and Resident Evil 3 original got. That's how serious I am about this game. That's how good this game is, that I am 100% giving this 10 out of 10. It is highly popular and very good to play. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. What did you score this game out if you played it already, or if you're just watching the videos on this? What do you think? I'm saying 100% this is awesome. Thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you gamers in the next one.